It's time for another episode of the Kish podcast. I'm Tony Scott.
And I'm Emer McCormack.
This week on the Kish podcast, we speak to somebody who's renowned for being controversial and is known for his outrage marketing.
He's very well known throughout the country. Probably maybe a little bit more well known within Dublin.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's where his business is based.
Yes, he runs the Charleville Lodge there in Phibsborough and also runs the well-known White Moose Cafe. The reason why the White Moose Cafe is very well known is because his intolerance to certain types of people that come in to the cafe, Tony.
And has no problem broadcasting it on social media like Snapchat and Insta stories and Facebook.
No, and this is the reason, I suppose, why he has the following he has, because watching some of his snaps back in the day on Snapchat and now on Insta stories, you do laugh out loud. Like I've witnessed on his Insta story, somebody has come and thrown a bag of rubbish in their car park, and he literally sifts through the rubbish, finds out who is the owner of the rubbish bag, and goes and delivers it back to the door and says, "Oh, I believe you missed something." And he recorded the entire thing all in Insta stories. He's also very well known for having publicity around breastfeeding mothers, that he's going to charge a corkage fee. Vegans, of course, aren't welcome in the cafe unless they've got a doctor cert. So all that type of stuff.
Gluten-free as well. He can't stand the whole concept of gluten-free. And he thinks a lot of people out there who just think it's a fad and think, oh, I'm just going to go gluten-free.
So he is. I mean, look, he's got a great following on social media, both on Facebook and Instagram. He has become very, very well known for just saying it as it is, you know, and he makes no apologies. He's likely to say anything.
Of course, love him or hate him, we are talking about Paul Stenson. We have to say happy 40th birthday because today, when this is released today, he is celebrating his 40th birthday. So Paul, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Paul. Hope you have a great day.
This podcast, I think we can, he likes being open and honest. I think we both expected something very different.
Tony, we spoke off air before interviewing Paul, and we asked the question, what Paul is going to show up? Is it going to be Paul outrageous, flamboyant, you know, the old singing, old dancing Paul v. Stenson? Or are we going to get a really subdued business person?
He was very honest and very open. And I mean, there's no point in me and you going on about how he was. I mean, we should just let the listener hear exactly what we got to hear.
Let's do it, Tony.
We found out who is Paul Stenson.
Jesus, what a difficult question to start off with. Paul Stenson is a bit of a gobshite, is the easiest way of putting it. I run the White Moose Cafe in Dublin, Charleville Lodge as well. My parents' business, they bought it in 1994 even. I've been there since 2003. And the White Moose came about in 2015. So it's just 5 years old now. The 31st of July, 2015, we started. So we're coming up to our 5th birthday. And yeah, you've probably heard a bit about the White Moose for either good or bad reasons. I'm comfortable with both. And yeah, that's what I do. That's my job.
What was growing up like for you?
I was always a bit of a weirdo. I still am. So I was always the weirdo at school. I'd impersonate teachers and I'd make my classmates laugh. I never really kind of conformed, though, in terms of like my leaving cert. I got 295 points first time round. I repeated it. I got 290 points, 5 points less the second year round. But I got my 2 honours to get me into the Shannon College of Hotel Management. So I did hotel management. I suppose the route of security as opposed to the route of dreams. My parents had the Charleville Lodge and I could see a stable future there. But if I were to do it all over again, I'd probably do something different. But what's happened now is by working in the family business, my dream has found me because I've discovered social media. And I suppose social media allows me to act the aegis. It gives me an outlet to perform. And that's, I guess, what I was born to do.
Why hotel and hospitality and not TV work and acting?
Because of the fact that mum and dad have the business there. So there was stability and security in that business. But if I could turn back time, would I do anything differently? You see, I'm a great believer in fate and in destiny. And I think that what's meant for you won't pass you. So I think I'm doing okay now, you know. So no, I probably wouldn't do anything differently. But the reason for going into hotel management is not because I'm a passionate general manager of a hotel. I rarely wear a suit and tie. Mum and dad had the hotel, so that's why I actually entered into that area of work.
Your parents ever concerned about some of the stunts?
Oh, I'd say about 95% of the time. Yeah. But like, as long as the money is coming in, they kind of turn a blind eye to it.
I was reading up about outrage marketing, and it says it's one of those things that you stop the moaners from coming in. Well,
despite all my efforts to stop them coming in, they do manage to still infiltrate into the business, which isn't ideal. But nowadays, we don't get anyone in because we're closed. Although our operation has completely changed. It's mostly online or outside now. But the physical 35-seater cafe, we're not opening on Monday. I can't. It's too small. You can't swing a cat in it, never mind having people at social distance in the midst of a pandemic. So we're not opening like other businesses. We're going to keep our click and collect and delivery model going. I'll open when like there's been 0 new cases for 14 days. I'm not opening on the 29th of June, the 20th of July, or any of these roadmap dates. No. When there are 0 new cases for 14 days, I'll consider opening, but not until, and if that's January, that's January. Or if there's a vaccine, if a successful vaccine comes along, whatever comes first. But that doesn't answer your question. What was your question again?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'll ask you a question there.
Go for it.
I'll jump in. So you had to adapt your business there, Paul. You said there you got a small cafe. I've frequented it myself a number of times. Well done. You're doing a great job there.
Thank
you. You know, to go from a very successful business where you've had people in and out all the time to virtually your business being halted, and for you to have to pivot into getting the moose box and, you know, diversifying in terms of using your outdoor space. Like how long did it take you to pull that together, and has it been successful in terms of where you were before with the cafe?
So we closed the cafe on the 15th of March voluntarily before the government made businesses close. We did it. We took the decision, look, we can't operate. So we closed it voluntarily on the 15th. And then 2 days later, Paddy's Day, we opened with a brand new website with an ordering platform on that website called Flipdish, where you can order food either to collect or to be delivered to your house. We launched the Moose card as well, which is a new loyalty card in which, you know, if you want to buy one now, we will give you a bonus of 20% of the value. So if you load €50 onto your Moose card now, you'll get 60. And that won't be, you can't redeem that until we're fully back up and running, but it's a way for us to get cash flow in now and for customers to be rewarded in the long run. But all of these were in place 2 days, 48 hours after we closed. So has it been successful? Yeah, because in the physical cafe, you've a limited capacity of 35 people. When you have a radius of 4 kilometers, there's a lot more than 35 people you can serve. It's been incredibly successful. The Moose box as well, we bought that last year, and we didn't realize how valuable it would be to us a year later. Moose box is doing between 300 and 350 coffees a day. And then we started the Moose Cream Lab because we can't use the physical indoor space, but there's an alcove in the cafe that has 2 tables. We put the Moose Cream Lab in there, serving ice cream, moose cream out the window. So these are all things we've done in order to pivot our business, and it's all doing really well.
Yeah, you're making money?
Well, no, not when the hotel is empty. But we're keeping the food operation is keeping everybody afloat. All of the staff, like the housekeepers who are on a break. I don't say they've been let go or laid off. They're on a break. Like we're paying them. The government is subsidising 70% of their wages. And we're topping up by the other 30%. Mm-hmm. At the moment, we're not in it to make money. We're in it just to keep our staff in jobs and to keep things ticking over. The goal is not to make money now. It's just to keep things going. That's all.
Would you like if the subsidiary was increased after August to give yourself a bit of a chance with the hotel reopening and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. We're very, very grateful for it. I think it'll go on till the end of August. once the rooms start filling again or whatever, there'll be no requirement for it anymore. But we're very, very grateful because we have housekeepers, we've night porters, we've receptionists who are still on our books when the hotel is pretty much empty. But the food operation is kind of keeping everything ticking over. So we're still okay. We're still okay.
And I noticed one thing, that your staff retention seems to be quite high, Paul. It's very hard in the hospitality to keep staff. So how do you think you're doing it?
Well, you treat them like family. You value them. You're on their side. If there's a unreasonable customer, giving them abuse, you take the side of your family. They are our family, pretty much. I believe that the team member is just as important as the customer, and looking after them, then they'll look after the customer. If a happy team member means a happy customer. We're very, very grateful to have such a high staff retention. Long may that continue.
So how did you start off in terms of like with Instagram? You started off on Snapchat first, right? And then you moved over to Insta stories. Remember the voting over, should we stay on Snapchat or should we move over to Instagram days? And you created an amazing profile there, and it brings you through like the daily. So for people who's listening that doesn't know who Paul is, he owns, as he mentioned, the hotel there and also the White Move.
I doubt there's many who don't know who Paul is.
Well, in case we've many people from all over the world that may not know.
True.
But then getting thousands upon thousands of followers and getting people engaged and people sharing their stories with you as well. Like, how did that all come about, and why did you decide to create this personality? Because it is a personality, right?
Yeah, well, actually, when I said it started with Snapchat, I'm incorrect in saying that. It actually all started on Facebook. One of my strengths is the written word. When we've asked for a doctor's note for gluten-free food, or when we've threatened to put Valium in the fruit juice of screaming babies, or whether we've banned vegans, or whether, Bloggergate, when I've banned bloggers, or any of those. They're largely driven by the written word. So on Facebook, Snapchat came along in 2016 or 17. I can't remember exactly when it came along, but that allowed us to put out kind of like a daily reality TV show, if you like. And people just loved what we were doing. And I suppose there was a migration over to Instagram after that, which I prefer, because with Instagram, your content is archived forevermore. With Snapchat, after 24 hours, there's no way of getting it back unless you've saved it. But with Instagram, you can go into your archive and pull up whatever the hell you want 2 or 3 years later. So Instagram is much better. But I guess my favorite, and where we'd have the largest audience, would be Facebook, due to the fact that it's the written word on Facebook as opposed to anything else.
Because I know your family have featured quite a bit on your social media. Have any of them ever objected to being featured? Because you share quite a bit of your own personal life.
Well, my mother always objects, to be honest.
Doesn't everyone?
But I think, and it's kind of funny how when I see her, the makeup is on, and it's almost as if she expects to be on it. But she's under. It's all under the guise of, no, don't you dare put me on that. But I guess that's why everyone, like a lot of my own personal followers, love my mum because of the antics. She doesn't like being on it, but I put her on it anyway, and she hits me and she, shouts at me, and it's actually all quite funny. Dad just wouldn't put him on it. Just wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't.
He's just not interested.
No, it's not his vibe at all. He doesn't understand it. He's 75. So it's just, no. I wouldn't even try to put him on my Instagram. No. Elaine loves it. My other sister, not so much. Elaine is always kind of asking me to put her on it. I'm tagging her. Can I have more followers? I want to get to 3,000 followers. Only 100 left to go. That's the type of carry-on you get from Elaine.
This episode's going out day after when there would have been a massive Pride parade in Dublin. I mean, obviously COVID's affected everything. What is your one word that might describe Pride, or your personal Pride story?
But it's hard to use one word without saying the word Pride. So for someone like myself, I came out when I was in my mid-20s in my teenage years, I went to kind of an all boys school, rugby playing, very kind of macho. And
Did you find that tough?
I didn't particularly find it tough, but you certainly wouldn't be coming out at that age in an environment in those days. And I guess when you have some gays who kind of, the minute you meet them that they're gay, they're very kind of overtly camp and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
In some ways, that's actually easier because you assume they're gay when you meet them at first. But with someone who, I guess, I don't like the word straight acting, but
masculine, maybe.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit more difficult because you don't have to come out in life once. You're constantly coming out. If you meet a new person and have you a wife and kids, so you're constantly coming out when you're not that overtly camp or whatever. It is a bit more difficult, I guess, when you're more masculine. My school days, you certainly wouldn't have been shouting from the rooftops back in the days that you were that way inclined. There's always been not shame. I wouldn't say shame is the word, but it hasn't been easy. And I think coming out is possibly one of the most difficult things anybody will ever do. So for me, pride, acceptance is the word, I suppose. With this Pride Festival every year, when you have had some shame in your life or haven't been entirely happy with the cards you were dealt, the Pride Festival kind of makes you feel included. You're not that different. Although I'm 40 next Monday, and I've learned in the past 5 years that being different is a strength as opposed to a weakness. And it's the individuals of this world who create change, not people who want to conform and be the same as everybody else. So I've got to the point in my life where I see my homosexuality, where I see my being adopted, where I see my drink problem as a strength and not a weakness. It makes me who I am. That's the person who I am. And I think Pride celebrates difference, celebrates individuality, makes us all feel that bit more accepted.
I want to ask you about Jason, because you guys got engaged, was it 2019?
Yeah, and then he decided to become an actor and move to London.
How did that go?
I will always stand by somebody who follows their dream. Before the White Moose was born in 2015, the space where the cafe is today was a dull, boring, gloomy breakfast room, a bit like something out of The Shining, with kind of tables and burgundy linen tablecloths, and it was all just a bit depressing. But the most important thing is, after 9:30 in the morning, the breakfast room would be closed for the whole day, so it wouldn't be a revenue-generating space. So Jason and I put our heads together and said, look, the new DIT Grange Women campus is opening 4 minutes walk from us. There'll be 20,000 students there. Let's try and do something. So the White Moose was born. So yeah, Jason did start it with me. And if it weren't for Jason, the White Moose wouldn't be here. No, in terms of him following his dream, moving to London, I'm 100% behind him. The wedding, I guess, is on ice at the moment. It's so it can't happen anytime soon. I obviously miss him a lot. He's back, by the way. He's back working.
Yeah.
Because
I saw on one of your stories.
Yeah. So
I mean, it must be great to have him back again.
It was quite a surprise because I thought he'd be gone to London forever. He came back in March. He spent 14 days in quarantine before he started back with us. And it's great to have him back. It is, because like the whole family are back together, if you like. But I'd say he'll be gone back to London August, September. So, yeah, I just have to get used to running it on my own.
The personal stories you share on social media, your relationship has been a massive part of that. Do you find it hard that you've shared so much of your private relationship life and then not have much to share?
Well, I'll always have a lot. I mean, when you say not have much to share, I've everything to share. What I share, I don't kind of plan, or it just happens naturally. Everything I do on social media, like I don't know what I'm going to do in an hour. My social media is spontaneous. It's authentic. organic. And I would dispute the fact that I've nothing to share, because when you work in a service business like mine, every interaction is nearly shareable, although the legalities of it are questionable. But when you run a hotel and restaurant like ours, you don't know who's going to walk through your door. People will walk out without paying, then I'll threaten to share them on social media, then I will share them and
dump the rubbish in your parking area.
I'll drive to their house and put the bin on. And then there was a guy who tried to park without paying for 5 days, and I brought him in.
That was great crack. I have to say now, I got the ultimate lols out of that one.
All these things, Emer and Tony, they just, you can't make them up. They just happen. Whether it's with Jason or without Jason, it's not that I've nothing to share anymore. It's business as usual.
The one thing I must say, Paul, I admire in you is that you are quite honest and you are open and you just say it as it is. I'm actually very good friends with Pat Phelan, who you also know, mutual friend.
Yeah.
And I respect Pat as well for saying it as it is and doesn't sugarcoat stuff. And I'd like to think that I'm a bit like that as well. I just say just say it as it is, because you know what? Life is too short for going around mollycoddling people and trying to appease people and trying to be, I suppose, in kind of one direction in terms of everyone agreeing with one another. There's no room for that. Like, it is about being about the individual, but you really have a no bullshit mentality about you. Where does that come from? Like, where did it come? Where did you realize you said, you know what? I actually don't agree with that. Feck that. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna say that.
I guess where that was born was during my time in a 5-star hotel here in Dublin. I spent 2.5 years there, and it was 2.5 years of genuflecting and bowing and treating the customer as if they're always right when a large part of the time they're wrong. But in a 5-star hotel, the customer is king. You can't say no. It's and sometimes you betray your inner feelings in order to fulfill the role you're playing or the number you're playing in a hotel 5-star environment like that. I ended up getting fired, but that's an entirely different story. But after my 2.5 years, I came to work in my own business, Charleville Lodge, and there I was allowed to say what I thought because my parents were the bosses. This fire that had been burning in my belly for the 2.5 years was now, I could release it and I could say whatever the hell I want. And I noticed that, following the way I felt, people started to like it, and there was an appetite for that kind of personality, I guess, and that's where it all came from. The no bullshit.
It's not by journalists. Many journalists don't like it, and then individuals, kind of abuse you on your Facebook page. But do you really care?
Well, no, I don't care. But first, it's not just journalists or people. I think it's society today. You can't really have any true feelings and express them without somebody somewhere getting offended. You're not really allowed to say what you think nowadays. You kind of tippy-toe around the issues, and people are scared to say what they feel today because of this politically correct climate, which I think is wrong. And I think people should be allowed to say what they feel without fear of others ganging up on them or whatever. But 2020, I'm afraid we're not allowed to say what we feel.
You do quite a lot in terms of promoting my home county of Mayo.
Oh, yeah.
You like to go there. Why do you like to go there? And tell me a little bit about the area.
Mum and dad are both from Mayo. Dad was born in Cong. Mum was born in Ballina. But dad's mum is from Achill Island, and that's where we have a family home. So I've been going there since I was a nipper, since I was a kid. Did a lot of windsurfing, surfing back in the day. Would love to actually take that up again. Achill is just an amazing place. It's an amazing place to get away. It's great to get out of the big smoke and just get down there and just chill and bring the dogs down. We've a lot of land down there. They love it down there as well.
You mean to tell me you've got road frontage?
I don't personally, no. No, I don't have much myself. It's Achill is just amazing.
When you're working all the time and you're very consumed and you're online and you're active and you're there with your staff and so on and so forth, when you jump in the Jeep and you head off west, do you actually ever switch off yourself?
I don't really, but I don't mind it. Like in terms of the social media, no, I won't switch off down there. I'm constantly on. I'm on all the time. But when you love doing what you do, it's not really work. It's fun. I go down there to get away from the business. I'll still be on the phone 23 hours of the day.
When you're not in the business, who's managing it?
Well, I have a team there who. There's a cafe manager. There's a front of house manager, and I can trust them really well. Like, I don't need to be there at all. The team is more than capable of running the place without me. So I've nowadays it's a bit different, and I've been there every single day since the 15th of March because I have to be, where we're not allowed to travel or whatever. But I just need to be. I probably could have headed off to Achill back before the lockdown on the 27th and just build out down there. But sure, no, I can't. I had to be in the front line. I've been there every single day since the 15th of March. So, look, I think this summer I'll probably get down to Achill. And then hopefully next January I'm going to Bali. So looking forward to that. But I think, and I've said this before, I think holidaying at home this summer is very important because we're a beautiful country, but B, it's safer. Like, I mean, all these people heading off to Lanzarote now on the 1st of July because they got cheap flights with Ryanair. That's all grand and let them off. But I just think it's a bit early. I just do. I think opening up air travel again, and I when there's still active cases, there's still people dying every single day, I think we should stay at home. But the third reason is to get our country's economy back. Why are you giving money to Spain when our country, which is beautiful and has loads of places to go, is on its knees? So they're the three reasons why I think people should look at staycations as opposed to going away. And I support the Sinn Féin idea of giving vouchers.
€200 voucher, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think it's a great idea.
A lot of people don't realise is that actually the hospitality and tourism sector is one that we rely on very much so in this country, and we really need to support it now. It is on its knees, and there's many other businesses outside of that of tourism that is also on their knees. I spoke about it in a previous podcast with Adrian Cummins from Restaurant Association of Ireland, is that like we do need to throw on that green jersey, and we need to get behind our own country and try and help each other up, because there's a lot of us that are down right now. A lot of us as well, Paul, like that, like suffering, might be slightly depressed or doesn't know how to get out of a hole. And there's one which is the financial side, and you can overcome that. You will overcome that at some stage. But it's the mental side. This has really affected people, I think,
100%. And I mean, I'd say COVID has been, we hear about all the COVID deaths, but, I'm sure suicide deaths have been there as well because of COVID. And, our mental health is really taking a hit, I guess, because of it. So, but apart from everything else, we've, as a country, been very, very successful in keeping this disease at bay, and much more successful than a lot of other countries. And I just think by us all heading off to Spain or wherever it is, what are we going to bring back with us? After all the good work we've done, after all the great work our healthcare workers have done, I just think let's stay local. Let's stay at home in Ireland. I think we've a better chance,
So you won't be heading away by the sounds of it?
Not this summer. No, that's why Bali is 2021. But this summer, I think it's important to support local and to stay local and to stay within our country.
Paul, I'm interested to speak to you as well, going back to the point of being very real on social media. But you've often talked about your struggles with your own mental health. How is that right now for you? How are you right now?
At this very moment in time, I'm fine, because I've started the whole mindfulness and meditation thing, and I see a counsellor and that, and if I'm ever in a dark place, or if I I'm worrying about something, or if I'm kind of like struggling and I'm thinking, right, I need to have a drink now or whatever, bringing it back to the moment, to the now, and realizing this is all we have. Past is gone, the future is yet to come. This is all we have now. Just make the most of it now. And for today, for now, I don't want to have a drink. And it's amazing how much freedom that gives you. But in terms of now, this moment, I'm perfect. I'm A1. Obviously, we all have our ups and our downs. There are mornings it's very difficult to get out of bed. There are mornings I don't get out of bed. But I think everybody's like that.
Of course.
But mindfulness, meditation, living in the moment, appreciating what you have now, whether that's the dog on your lap or whether you're out walking the dog in the Phoenix Park and just breathing in the fresh air and seeing whatever it is, just concentrate on the now. Don't get tied up about the future or the past because it's irrelevant. Just now is all we have. That has helped me hugely.
Do you have a good circle of friends?
I could count my good friends on one or two hands, you know. I have a lot of acquaintances, but in terms of really good friends, I have a few that you can confide in, that you can talk to, and that's really important.
What's next for you? Do you have any big hopes and dreams?
So I guess I'm at a bit of a crossroads in my life. Do I want to be Paul the entertainer or Paul the restaurant mogul, having a chain of White Moose cafes all over Ireland, England, the States, and all that? Or can I do both and keep going straight on, left, right, or straight on? And I think I'll probably try and do both. But at the moment, there's not much planning going on. It's just, let's get through the predicament we're in now, and it's a day-to-day. Let's manage on a day-to-day basis how things are going. I am scouting locations for new cafes.
Would you be nervous about that now, Paul, in the current situation, though? I mean, do you think you're probably about 6 to 12 months away from that, or do you think you just go for it and take a punt?
So when you say nervous, about
opening up a new place and creating a chain?
Like the click and collect and delivery model has been very good to us, and I think but it's only limited to the 4 kilometre radius where around Phibsborough where we are. So places like on the south side of Dublin can't order our pancakes or our moosties or whatever. So we are looking at locations to be able to service South Dublin or Cork or Galway, but we're taking baby steps there. We can't rush into it. For the moment, we're happy out where we are. And yeah, I mean, am I nervous about opening somewhere else? Yeah, of course I am. I mean, no more than traveling through airports. It's a bit early. So you're looking at a 6 to 12 month plan there. But again, now let's just try and get through what we're living through at the moment. Every day it changes.
Your moosties look amazing, by the way. I must pop up and get one on one of the days.
Thank you very much.
Really,
you can.
Yeah.
They go down well. Yeah. Like none of our food is healthy, and I don't apologize for that. To eat in the White Moose, it is a treat. And our food is hugely calorific. And that's what makes it good. And we don't make any apologies for that. I mean, if you come in for brunch or if you order pancakes in bed or a breakfast burrito in bed on a Sunday morning, you know, you want a treat. You don't want to be making sacrifices. Life is not about making sacrifice. It's about enjoying yourself and treating yourself.
What's been your proudest moment to this date?
It has to be White Moose related, I guess. It has to be White Moose related. Like, I'm very proud now of how well the cafe has done over the past 5 years. Very proud of the team. Very proud of, you know, of everything.
Paul, I suppose I'd like to give you a little bit of a compliment. I've been following you for many years now, I suppose. And as a marketeer myself, I really admire the bit of crack. There is a serious point to this, though, because you do receive a lot of messages from individuals who you have helped. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, I mean, like you receive messages from a lot of people. Some of them are, nasty and troll accounts with profile pics with a cat's face, and they're just, you know. But then there's other people who will message and say, look, you've really helped me. And whether that's overcoming alcoholism or whether it's like people message me to say that I've given them a reason to smile when there isn't and that kind of really, just it's why I do it, really. It's like my social media following, I'm not benefiting it from it personally because I don't own the White Moose or Charles Village. It's my parents who are benefiting from it monetarily or financially. I don't. What I get out of it is, I enjoy when people message me. It's rewarding when people message you to say, look, you've helped me through tough times, and we laugh. And my son, who's autistic, he loves the guacamole, the peel the avocado, and I get messages like that all the time, and that just
does it give you a little bit of a lift personally when you get that?
100%. It makes me want to carry on. That's what does it for me. Now, obviously, you have your fair share of trolls as well who message you, and but
they're just the keyboard warriors, and that's just basically.
Well, we I guess have quite a unique situation in which we kind of are very grateful for keyboard warriors, because it's people who hate us that will spread the word about us much more strongly than people who love us, funnily enough, because bad news always travels wider than good news. So keyboard warriors who get offended by jokes that 99.9% of people find funny, they're our sales reps. Yeah. They do a lot of work for us. So we're very grateful to them.
Rightly so.
I just wanted to make a point on the question Emer just asked. I lived in Wexford, as I said, for the last 14, 15 years. Had quite a great job. I was working in radio there, and I had a 3-hour show every day. And they can be tough, going in there, trying to put on, smile and be happy, and people listening are relying on you for company. And you can have tough days. And when the mic goes off, it's back to slouching and feeling a bit crap. And I will say, watching, because Emer introduced me to your social media, watching your snaps or Instagram stories, they got me through a 3-hour show and kept that smile going. So while you're here, thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Jays, it's Tony.
Just because I wanted to say to his face, because it's nice sometimes, because I got that from people when I worked in the job.
Yeah. I know it is. It's nice. It's nice to be nice instead of just being people having a horrible opinion of you. Paul, look, you're on to something good. Really, really great there, and keep the best side out. And wish you every little bit of success now, that when the hotel reopens and that your business comes back up, and so on, and the restaurant side of the business will be back open again. I would assume that you probably might keep the delivery option, to maybe increase business. Will you long term? Do you think you'll do that?
This has just showed us how, Pat actually, Emer, said to me, I met Pat, it was before Christmas or maybe January. I was out in Sisu Frascati, and he said to me, come here to me, Paul, if I had a few bob now, I'd put it in to Ghost Kitchen. Right? Yeah. Ghost Kitchen is no tables, no chairs, no waiters. It's just the kitchen and Deliveroo, Uber Eats, or Just Eat from there to the houses. And I said, okay, yeah, all right, okay, it sounds like, not really believing him, but not so sure about the idea. And once COVID hit, he was so right. Yeah. I said to him, Pastor, you were so right calling that. And he said, yeah. Ghost Kitchens is the way. The ex-CEO of Uber has invested 100 million in it in America. So the delivery and click and collect, it's the way forward,
Well, you could certainly leverage the brand, the White Moose Cafe, and set up that Ghost Kitchen. Let's Eat In Sandyford do a very good job with the Ghost Kitchen, where they offer Indian, Chinese, various different other types of cuisines, and they deliver at that. They started that, I think, in my Just Eat days, maybe 2010, 2011, and it's been very successful for them. But I think that is probably the future of kind of that cafe restaurant trade, because having people in your premises, it costs a lot of money for the service and all that. So if you had a bunch of chefs just cooking out the food, putting it into the really nice branded containers, out for delivery, job done, good luck.
Again, as I said, the staff, we treat them like family. We'll never go fully online and eliminate the family element of it, because that's what we're all about. And coming into the cafe and seeing all the mad signs around, it's kind of it's not just a brunch experience, it's an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience.
You can't lose that. But at the same time, I think the whole online it's where it's at. So it'll be
I think all of this COVID actually showed a vulnerability in many businesses in Ireland about not having an online presence.
yeah. And we were very lucky to have the online presence 48 hours after we voluntarily closed. So
that must have been some phone call to Flip Dish saying, here lads, can we get this integration done real quick?
That was amazing. And the web designer as well, to get it all up and running. There was a lot of hard work that had to be done in a very short space of time.
Paul, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. Wish you every bit of success, and hopefully I'll pop into you very, very soon.
Please do. Look forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll be over there as well with you to get one of those lovely ice creams.
Paul, listen, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks a million. Look, lovely talking
Take
to you.
care.
And to you. Thanks for your time.
So, Tony, that was Paul Stenson. What did you think of that interview?
I thought it was very honest and open. There was a lot of points, especially when he was talking about coming out, where I think it was almost like he got a little bit emotional about it. He was talking about being let down in life, and I imagine he has got lots of different hats. But it was nice to see the real Paul Stenson in a way.
I think from my perspective, I was expecting probably somebody a little more different than that. From watching his Insta stories and following his Facebook page and so on, there was a part of me that expected that the flamboyant showman, that being Paul V. Stenson, would come onto this podcast and be like that. And I suppose I was quite taken aback. I found the interview sometimes being quite subdued. Really interesting points, don't get me wrong, but it's, I guess, the personality that we see behind a camera didn't come to the fore in terms of the podcast.
In many TV shows, how many people do you watch on TV have that same personality off the TV?
It's very true. And think back to your radio times as well. You have to be happy, go lucky, have that smile on the face, you know.
There was that point that I made that, you know, if you've got a job like that where you're so in the public eye or the public ear and you have to be on every day, like you're there as company for a lot of people. And if you're down in the dumps, they're not going to listen to you.
The only thing is, Tony, I would say to that, well, not your particular point, but the point for Paul. I know he says he doesn't care about the trolls, and the trolls enable his business to get more reach and all of that, and they're brilliant, and he encourages it, and he comes out with amazing different campaigns, and there's no doubt about it. That actually just happens. You are human at the end of the day, and I think trolls and keyboard warriors do have an effect on you. And we know, and Paul has spoken about it in the past online. He said that, you know, he has suffered from a bit of depression and various different other bits and bobs in relation to that, finding it difficult to get up out of bed, all of those things. And I wonder, whilst you may say, this doesn't bother me, and you know, this is enabling my business, and this is giving me this reach, and look, I'm on this news program in the UK and in America and all of these amazing places, and they're talking about his business. But I just feel that's a little bit of a front, and it can get to you.
No, I absolutely agree with that, because I can only speak from my perspective and my experience that you could be doing something that you think is entertaining and is really great, and then you get that one negative text and you're like, no, go way out of that. No, what, like, who the hell are you to tell me what I'm doing? But it does affect you, and it gets on your nerves. Anyone who says anything bad about you, it will grate on you.
I know that not everybody loves you, and that, you know, there are people that might necessarily see eye to eye with you, and that's okay, and that's life.
Maybe it's jealousy.
Well, there could be a proportionate jealousy attached to that. I think it used to bother me an awful lot more when I was younger, as opposed to what it does now. It still bothers me to a certain degree when...
I think it does affect people, but definitely teens to maybe mid-20s a lot more.
Yeah, I definitely think so. But, you know, I just thought his story was interesting. I would have liked to have more time with him and to maybe delve into more issues and more, I suppose, to get to know him really, really, really well. This is what the Kish podcast is all about. It's interesting stories from people's lives. I think that we did get to know Paul Stenson a little bit better. Which is good. So
next week we're going to be talking about something quite serious,
and it's an area in which I, Tony, don't know a lot about. I don't know about yourself, but it's anorexia, and I'd
know in the opposite way, the overeating.
Yeah. Yeah, so a friend of mine, Aoife Cunningham, who is an amazing rower, coastal rower, from Ringsend in Dublin 4, happened to be over in my apartment having dinner. We were having a chat, and then she starts talking about her life in terms of like her anorexia and her journey and so on. And I've known Aoife for years, and I said to her, "Oh, Aoife," I said, "I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you to stop right there." I said, "I'm going to ask you a question. Would you mind?" And I said, "Completely okay if you want to say no, but would you mind if I got my microphone and we talked about this and then make a show out of it? Because I think there will be somebody that could benefit from her story, and plus it's also an interesting story, whatever, about somebody benefiting from it." I learned so much from talking with her.
And it's real.
Very, very real. And I think you'll hear throughout the duration of the interview at various different points I was actually quite shocked, because I thought I knew her, and I thought that I knew what she was kind of going through to a certain degree. Obviously, I can empathise. I haven't got an eating disorder, so I can't fully know 100%. But for situations that we were in together, I thought she was okay in those situations, but actually she wasn't. She was far from it. So really, really interesting conversation. It's very raw. It's very, very honest. It's very, how will I say, she holds nothing back.
Honesty is great when you're telling a personal story like that.
And after she went home last night, I sent her a message and I said, "Look, thank you very much for doing that interview. If you don't feel comfortable about it, I can easily just delete it, and there's no issue." And
Never see the light of day.
Never see the light of day. But she said, no, it was actually quite empowering for her that she had an opportunity to talk, and if it can help one person out there, then it's a good thing. It's a story that I know if that was on the radio and they were speaking to somebody like her, I'd turn it up and I'd listen attentively. And I hope you enjoy it.
I know. I was listening to it earlier today, and I had it on in the background while I was working on some other stuff. Yeah, it's definitely one to give your full attention span to.
We also have some really interesting guests coming up over the next number of weeks, and we look forward to bringing you a raft of various different subjects. Please get in contact with the show if you have any suggestions or you'd like to send us a message. Check out our website, thekishpodcast.com, or search for us on Instagram, Twitter, and anywhere else that would allow us to have a platform.
It's been a pleasure to see you once again, my dear friend.
And you too, Tony.
We will talk again next Monday.
We will.
And thank you again for downloading the podcast.
Take it easy until next week.
Slán agus bannacht.
Good night, on board, lad.
Ní lein tinton mar the tinton fe.
Sheer gun. What's that?
No, forget it now. We're done.
Yeah.